Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Assistant Secretary of Health and Social Services, Sheldon Cunningham, and the Assistant Secretary of Community Development and Culture, Ansel Dennis, addressed the media.
Of course, the intention was that the division would refurbish a number of our community centers across Tobago, and I'm pleased to report that all those projects have since started. Some have since been complete and are ready for handing over to the various communities. Let me start with the Canaan Bonaccord Community Facility. That is still ongoing. It's 70% completed, and the expected date of completion is the 20th of this month. The WIM Community Facility, Swam Community Facility, is 97% completed, and the completion date I have here is actually today. We also upgraded 2 pan theaters here in Tobago. Cats and Jammers is completed and ready for handing over. The Carib Dixieland Pan Theater is 97% completed, and the completion date as well is today. Of course, you may have known that there were some infrastructural challenges with most of our Y zones across Tobago. We have since done some work, and all those Y zones have been refurbished, and all the infrastructural challenges were resolved. Of course, the division is now undertaking a process to hire coordinators to be placed at the Y zones to ensure that they are opened on a daily basis and accessible to the members of the public. Let me say as well that the intention of the division was really to seek volunteerism or seek out volunteers within the communities to participate in operationalizing the Y zones. There were challenges with that, hence the reason the division has gone in the direction of hiring individuals to be placed at the youth zones throughout Tobago. The Goodwood Community Center as well have been upgraded and complete, and that is ready for handing over. The Hope Community Center as well is 100% completed, and as I would have reported some time ago as well, the intention is to do a brand new community center at the Belgarden community. We are presently engaging with MTS at this point in time to work out the arrangements in terms of the tendering process so that a contractor could be selected, and that project hopefully should begin early next year. In terms of our human development programs, the vocational skills training program, which, as I would have said before, provided training to some 400 Tobagonians across 29 different communities here in Tobago. And training was provided in areas such as garment construction, bread cakes and pastries, food preparation, fabric designing, and a whole host of other areas. And of course, over 400 persons are expected to graduate on the 29th of this month, and this will signal the end of a very successful vocational skills training program. The division intends to continue with that program as we expect to begin a new cycle in February of next year.
I think the last time I was here at press briefing, we spoke about the social issues that plague Tobago. And in terms of looking at the social services department and restructuring and focusing more on a service delivery to the community. And since then, I am pleased to report to you that I think the staff have been doing yeoman service and going beyond the call to make sure some of the social issues here in Tobago are really and truly cleared up. As a matter of fact, when you look at social welfare and the complaints we have been having, most of them we try our best to deal with them. And if you look at under the review from 2015-2016 present, We had 260 applications received for senior citizens pension, and to date, I can report to you that 373 applications have since been cleared up. And it speaks that the other units, since moving from the building, that the challenges we were having at the building, we now are housed and sharing space with the Community Development and Culture building. That's why me and my colleague is chosen to be here today to report to you. It means that we are working along to ensure that the community is served at every aspect. And then when you look at other units like the Gender Affairs unit, which really and truly take care of the gender issues that face during the divisions and the community, we have then revitalized the Gender Focal Point committee, which is going to look at the issues that plague gender issues in each of these divisions. And they have been having their meeting restart in May of 2016 this year to focus on those issues that deals with gender issues. And we have the Trade and Family Service unit who continue to lend support to families because, as you know, we're talking from the birth to the grave, where we look and take care of every single person. And they have been doing a number of program counseling in terms of crisis, depression, suicidal, even marital issues, anger management, and even stress management during the Children and Family Service unit. And of course, the program for adolescent mothers, we have also tightened that area also in terms of looking how we take care of our young teenage mothers. For some reason, we have 4 of those mothers returning to school, and one who has sat the CXC exam and had passed 3 passes, which speaks volume that, of course, we are really and truly encouraging. It's not something that you want to say wholly and solely. It is okay for young mothers, young teenagers getting pregnant and put them back in the school, but there are circumstances that cause of this situation. And we have to understand, because we treat with social issues, and when you get involved in these social issues and you look at what happened in our community, sometimes you have to lend this support and then ask yourself what and how the best way you can treat with situation as we go forward. The aging unit, we continue to take care of our senior citizens, and earlier up this year, we had our senior citizen debate in the House on issues plaguing our senior citizen. And next week, Tuesday, it is hoped that the video presentation, that these senior citizens can now receive a copy of that video presentation which took place at that debate, and then we can now plan and go forward in terms of how we treat and take care of our senior citizen. We are really and truly strapped in terms of funding to continue and driving to the maximum we want for the caregivers program for a senior citizen. But as you know, there are level of priorities and how we treat with some of these issues and finding funding to really and truly give more kudos to that program. But we are working with who we have, because as you know, we have close to about 215 clients and we only have 55 caregivers, 12 supervisors, and we still have 105 persons waiting on that list to actually get or receive a caregiver. So we are trying to boost the activity centers. I've been visiting all the activity centers and seeing how they are being run and what input we can put on policy change to make those activity centers more user-friendly to our senior citizens. And so we talk about the Tobago Rehabilitation and Empowerment Center, as we call TREC, up at the Old Fort, where we deal with those persons, drug-related, who have been in prison also, and looking for some place where they have a level of rehabilitation back into society and how we cater for them. So we have been working, and we are now looking to create other programs and have them back into society. And of course, supported by the Alcohol, Drug and Prevention Program, as we know, ADAP. ADAP have been doing their community work in the school drug program, the Carnival program, ensuring that person understand the use and misuse of alcohol, and also understand that alcohol can be a serious problem in society. We also have the community social workers, who, as you know, is the first face in the community for the Department of Social Health and Social Services. So what they do, each social worker is being represented in a district or in a village or community, and they look at the issues that plague and try to do referral systems that we can take care of some of these issues that plague. And we try our best now to work along with the churches and community groups to ensure that some of our issues are being addressed. But from the 28th of November to the 4th of December, as you know, is what you call Tobago Day. And one of our main aim at this week of activity is to ensure that our customer service to the people, our clientele from the Department of Social Service and to extension the Division of Health and Social Services, we try to address some of the issues that plague some of the clientele out there. So within that period, we asking persons who have issues, please visit the office. The secretary and myself have pledged that we're going to spend that week ensuring and listening and try to address some of these complaints as they come in. So that week is really dedicated to persons who have issues in any of the areas that we pledge in that week to be there to really treat with those issues. So I urge the public of Tobago, any issues along health and social services, make that period your time to let us see how we can address them. We know there are issues, we know there are problems, we know there are challenges that you face out there. So we are committing that week to really see how best we could address some of these concerns. And we know all cannot be addressed, but at least it's a step inside to really and truly resolve some of the problems outside.
Mr. Dennis, you spoke about the restructuring at the Y zones and hiring persons to manage. Can you just give us a little bit more details? Would it be like one person per Y zone, or what would the format take place?
It's one person per Y zone, and we're looking at, well, we're still trying to work out issues such as working hours, but we are suggesting it will be something like 11 to 7 p.m. because we expect the youth zone to be utilized more in the afternoon periods when children are home from school. So it's going to be one person per Y zone.
Okay. And how much is this costing the division?
Well, in terms of the salary, I don't have the exact figure, but it's going to be, it will range from something, let's say, between $4,000 to $6,000 a month.
All right, and Mr. Cunningham, you mentioned that some of these social, the agent program is experiencing some problems where there's a shortfall of funding. What are some of the things that you guys would have liked to do if you had the sufficient funds to do it?
One of the things, when visiting some of the senior citizens who require extra help, the first thing come to mind, our senior citizens have really paved the path for us. They have created a lot of things that we could utilize now, which we may never even had if it wasn't for them. And when you look at some of the areas and the living condition, in terms of help, someone to get their groceries, someone to get their medication, somebody just be there as a companion to them. And this is what I'm saying, if we had the funding, we could look at employing some more young persons as companionship to our senior citizen, and those meager little things like go for medication, to the grocery, even assisting some of the things at home, we could provide those. But funding again is a problem, so we can't. But that is one of the areas. And also the activity centers, I'm really looking at in terms of, could be agriculture, could be a way where they could have an area where they could reminisce on some of those time they had among their peers, providing an area where they could really recreate. Because you see, if you give our senior citizen that kind of space, they're able to live a little longer than we now talking that they are living longer now. Because we have been creating and looking at that whole centenarian coming up and catering for that centenarian bracket. But our senior citizen really need to, we take more look at them and give them a place where they could spend their time in comfort, able to do some of the things maybe they did not get the opportunity to do because of taking care of all of us.
What is the management system you have in place for the community centers presently? Is there a separate management system for the newer centers and there is a separate one for the older centers? What is the situation in terms of the management of these community centers?
Right, presently there are two existing models. For the newer facilities, well, let me outline all the facilities that are under that model of management. The Buku Multipurpose Facility, Glamorgan, Betsy Hope, Speyside, and Lowlands. They are being managed by the Division of Community Development and Culture through coordinators. Facility coordinators were employed by the division, and they are responsible for the management of those facilities in conjunction with the village councils. And let me just explain how the relationship is supposed to work. the coordinators, in all cases, reside within the community. As a matter of fact, the village council would have had some input in terms of the recommendations coming forward for persons to be employed as coordinators, providing, of course, that the persons met the qualifications and they went through the interview process and came out successful. So the village council would advise the coordinators in terms of programs that they would like to have on board, etc. So that's one model. The second model, where all the other community centers are under, is basically where the village councils have responsibility for managing the facilities. Coming into office in 2013, let me just mention that we looked at the entire situation. We undertook a consultation process where we went back to the various communities to discuss the issue of managing community centers. That process is still ongoing. We're now reviewing the policy document, and the hope is that very soon we'll be going back into the communities with an actual policy document which will suggest how community centers should be managed throughout Tobago. Because there are a number of issues with those that are under village council management. Some are being managed effectively, some are not being managed effectively. There are situations where communities complain about not having access to the facility. There are situations where keys for facilities cannot be found, and a number of other situations exist out there. So the division has started a process to treat with that, and we intend to bring that to a closure as soon as possible.
So the lists that you mentioned are managed by a coordinator?
Yes.
The coordinator is employed by the Division of Community Development. Are all the coordinators paid the same salary?
Yes.
How much is that, please?
I'll give you a rough estimate. I think it's between $8,000 to $9,000 per month. Again, I could get the exact figure and get it back to you, but I think it's within that bracket, $8,000 to $9,000 a month.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending November 5th, 2016.
When we started this conference in 2007 as a division, we had several objectives in mind. One was to provide a forum for entrepreneurs and prospective entrepreneurs in Tobago to engage some of the most foremost experts on existing challenges facing the business community and on the island, and to find feasible solutions to address these challenges. Two, we wanted to provide a forum to analyze the challenges facing the Tobago economy and to develop policy prescriptions for addressing these challenges. Three, to provide a forum where successful entrepreneurs locally and nationally can share their experiences with the hope that important lessons can be derived, learned, and transmitted. And fourth, we wanted to sensitize Tobagonians of the various opportunities available to them by the Tobago House of Assembly to stimulate entrepreneurial activity on the island. Ladies and gentlemen, on this, our 10th anniversary of this conference, the fact that so many of you are here today is an overwhelming testament of what we have been able to achieve over the years, and suggests to me that we are doing something right. For this, I am deeply honored and humbled, and I wish to pay public tribute to all the individuals who no doubt would have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this conference into the mega event that it is today, and I think you should give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, One of the significant reasons for the tremendous success and interest in this conference over the years is that we have always tried to address topical issues that directly impact the Tobago economy in general, and the Tobago entrepreneurs and prospective entrepreneurs more specifically. To illustrate, when the conference started in 2007, recognizing that the Assembly had a myriad of opportunities available for Tobago's business development, and recognizing that there was not enough uptake on some of these opportunities by Tobagonians, the inaugural conference focused on the opportunities and challenges facing enterprise development on the island, and the conference at that time was aptly themed Enterprise Development in Tobago, Opportunities, Challenges, and Prospects. Likewise, in 2009, when the global economy was afflicted by the global financial crisis, recognizing that Tobago's economy was highly vulnerable to the vagaries of the international economic environment, the conference then focused on the strategies and imperatives of economic adjustment for Tobago in the global economic environment at that time. Accordingly, the conference for that year was themed Adjusting to the New Global Economic and Financial Environment. Ladies and gentlemen, now the national economy is experiencing significant challenges because of what is happening to the prices of oil and natural gas internationally and the production of these commodities nationally. This year, the focus of the conference is on building economic resilience and on deriving strategies to mitigate against the harmful effects on the economic adjustments that are critical at this time. Accordingly, this year's conference is themed Exploring Innovation, Embracing Opportunities, and Enhancing Economic Resilience. The topics selected for today's discussion have been carefully and strategically selected to enable us to focus on some of the most pressing issues affecting the business community and the Tobago economy today and in the future. We have included a few presentations on the issue of building resilience to stimulate discussions on the implications of the economic slowdown on Tobago and the critical adjustments that are required in light of a new economic reality. We have also included a segment on productivity and innovation, as we believe these are critical enablers of economic growth and diversification of the Tobago economy. And we included as well a segment on women and business with an understanding of the fact that the female-headed households are particularly vulnerable to poverty, and with the hope of encouraging more women to get involved in entrepreneurial activities. Ladies and gentlemen, to assist us in discussing these very interesting topics, we have assembled some of the foremost experts nationally and regionally to share these perspectives. One of the features of this annual conference is that we always try to assemble high-quality presenters. Some of you may recall that in the past, we have had persons from academia, leading business professionals, senior executives of the Caribbean Development Bank, international development consultants, as well as executives of the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. We have also tried to assemble industry leaders and entrepreneurial game changers to give first-hand accounts of their experiences. I am sure most of you will concur with me that this year's conference, we have maintained a very high standard. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference has also assisted the Tobago House of Assembly in shaping several of the strategic policy initiatives. And as a result, we were able to encourage entrepreneurship in Tobago and stimulate economic activity. Permit me to highlight a few of them. One, the restructuring and expansion of the Business Development Unit, the introduction of the Business Development Grant Program in 2011, and the rationalization of the Business Development Loan Program. Thirdly, the introduction of the Venture Capital Equity Fund. And fourth, the proposed establishment of the Innovation Center at the Tobago Information Technology Limited to allow Tobagonians to better leverage the use of ICT in their business operations. Since our first conference in 2007, the Tobago economy has come a long, long way. Indeed, we have seen tremendous strengthening of the Tobago economy. And in this regard, we have seen, one, the growth of the number of registered businesses on the island, the number of persons employed in Tobago increased by about 2,900 or approximately 3,000 from 28,900 to well over 31,000. The unemployment rate in Tobago declined from 4% in 2007 to approximately 3% today. The proportion of the labor force in Tobago with tertiary education grew from approximately 7% in 2007 to approximately 20% today. Headline and food price inflation have declined dramatically from double-digit numbers in 2007 to single-digit numbers today. Evidently, we have seen tangible improvements in the Tobago economy during the time of this conference. While we may not be able to attribute the strengthening of the Tobago economy directly to the conference, undoubtedly this conference would have contributed in no small measure to assisting us to better understand the Tobago economy and to make relevant policy interventions, the fruits of which we are seeing today. As an assembly, we will continue to host this conference and other initiatives as we seek to collaborate with all stakeholders as we continue a process of deepening the conversation and deepening the democracy. But ladies and gentlemen, this conference and other initiatives hosted by the division would not have been possible without the support of our hard-working and our visionary leader, the Honorable Chief Secretary. And boss, I will try to do so without tearing up a lot, but this would be Mr. London's, as in his capacity as Chief Secretary, his final Tobago Economic and Business Outlook Conference. And Sir, Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago owes you a debt of gratitude for your service to the island and your service to country. And as the Secretary of Finance, I am indeed grateful for your leadership and your guidance. And I think all of us in this room could join together in thanking you for your service.